They're watching, want to chat in the box there. I'm just hanging out today. It's Tuesday. Looking forward to Marty's live stream. Two Line Slot Cars. He's got a cool channel. I like his channel. How he talks to everybody. He's got a very good personality when he talks to everybody, and he's very engaging. So if you guys are gonna join some slot car chat, I would join Marty tonight on Two Line Slot Cars at I think 8 p.m. is when he does it. So join his channel. Real cool guy. Uh, like again, every Tuesday night he does it. I'm just on here just messing around, figuring, just trying out this live thing from my iMac computer, which is new. I got a few weeks ago, and I'm just seeing how it looks. The quality looks pretty good on this camera, and as you can see, the track in the background and everything. So it's kind of nice where I positioned this. I got this kind of position so you can see everything. And you see that shelf right there on my, let me point it right there, that shelf I need to shore up. See, it's sagging down because of the weight of 124 scale cards. So I'll have to get an L bracket, find a stud. That's the only shelf that's giving me a problem, and bolt that up. So who's ever watching, talk to me. I see one person. I don't know if it's a lurker or if it's somebody who's subscribed to the channel and watches my videos. I did a video the other night on the room upstairs, which will be having a wood track. I had to build it. I had a lot to learn about building it. So I'm going to use Harry and Mark Thomas as my guide because those guys know a lot about building tracks. And I think the name that I'm going to come up with will be for that track will be Hangar One Raceway. I think I like that one. Hangar One is associated, of course, with Area 51, but it's also associated with Moffett Field in Mountain View, California, which I used to live right across from that. And it's a big hangar that used to have put blimps in it, or dirigibles, they call them. It's one of the largest hangars in the world. I've been in it. It's huge. It's so big that clouds form on the top of it. That's how big it is. I know Google stripped it down because they want to invest like $100 million into it and restore it. It's a real big landmark. I mean, it's huge. You can see it from the freeway from 101 as you go by it. It's a very large hangar, and I've been in it, been near it. I have photos of it and stuff. It's pretty cool. I had to dig up the photos. They're in the hard drive somewhere. I have a couple hard drives upstairs that I've had for a long time, and I got to open them up and grab the pictures of it. But pretty cool place. Moffett Field. It's NASA Ames Research Center is there also, I believe, as well. But I think it's got shut down by the government, so it's kind of like still there. But anyways, just enough of that. Anybody want to talk about slot cars? We got two people here. I have my Porsche 908. I haven't opened this in a couple months. I think 2 months I've had this. I've been so busy with other stuff. I have I have a couple of these. So I have this 908 right here. This is a Golf one. Real pretty looking car. And then I also have the pretty red one, which I like also, number 31. Nice looking car. And then I also have somebody calling me. Let's see who this is. Hello? All right. I guess nobody's. Sorry about that. Who the heck would call me and not answer? So, anyways. 402. So, hey, Garth Flood. Garth Flood, I'm sorry. No, not Area 52 Garth. I've selected Hangar One Raceway, but that is very novelty there. Did you get your blue hobby workbench, Matt? Where did I get it? I got it from Amazon. Amazon sells those. It's an electronic pad that you use for soldering electronics. There's different various ones. There's red, blue, I think there's a green one, yellow, but it's mainly blue. And I got the idea from a YouTube page called Slot Car Torres. So this guy, Slot Car Torres, is from, I want to say Spain, but I'm not sure. And this guy knows how to tune a lot of cars, and he does it on his track. He's got a huge track, but he's really good at tuning it. And since I understand Spanish and speak it, I'm able to watch his videos and understand what he's doing and what he's talking about. So, but that's where I discovered his mat because he was using it. So if you go on Amazon, just type up silicone rubber mat, and what it is that when you drop anything on it, it won't burn through. Like if you drop like see solder on it, or if you put heat like something hot to it, it'll just absorb it. It won't, silicone obviously it won't burn through anything. But that's where I got the mat, if that's what you're asking. I actually have one right here on this right here. Here's a small one, and that's from Amazon. It works real well. They make different size ones depending what you want to get. I like them when I'm soldering, because if I want to solder like modified cars, I could put the piece of solder or the piece of brass tubing on it and then solder it. And that's how I sometimes make the Nerf bars and stuff, instead of using the ceramic jeweler's board, which is typically what I use to use chassis, because usually you pin it to align everything, make sure everything's squared, and you solder it in. But that's where I got that from, Garth. If you want to check it out, if you have an email or anything, email me and I can send you a link to it if you want to look for it. But it should be there. It should be under silicone mat, I think is what it is. Soldering mat. But the one I saw, I thought was larger than the one you just showed. Yeah, it is. That was a small one. They do make bigger ones. You just look up the description, it'll tell you the size of it and stuff, what it looks like. You'll find it there, and there's a bunch of them there. Usually a lot of things I order from Amazon are pretty cool. This one thing I do want to order from them probably next week is there's this, no problem, man. There's this telescope. There's this microscope that one of my coworkers at my job, he likes to collect coins and stuff. And he showed me, he brought it to work. That's pretty cool. It's for looking at coins, and actually it's pretty powerful for a small little microscope with a video. It's like a video camera on it, so it'll show it to you on a screen. I was thinking of using that for illustrations in some of my videos when you're looking at gears and stuff, but it's not ridiculously expensive. It's pretty cheap. I'm thinking about getting something like that. I'm using the live stream from YouTube. I do have Zoom. Sometimes I'll use the Zoom for the Worldwide Slot Car Chat, but I haven't been on that in a while. I went on that last week for a little, but then I got off of it. The topics they were talking about, didn't know what they were discussing, so it was kind of boring. So I just kind of went off it because I didn't know what they were talking about. So because I got there real late. But yeah, I'm using a YouTube Live. I do have Zoom. I mean, I don't know if everybody has Zoom. I guess we could try Zoom one day. But you guys, if you Marty's going to have this live stream tonight. So, hey, what's up, Bill at Castle Rock Racing? How's it going, man? I'm just here messing around. I was talking about these NSR 908s, and I've had these for a while, and I haven't really messed with them. They're still in the box brand new. And I got another one right here, the Rothman one. Here's a Rothman one. These are fun cars. And then I got one where I was going to paint my own body on it. It's a kit that's kind of like, this one's not the 908. This one's the, what the hell was this one? I forget what this one was. 917 something, but I can't remember. 917 10K. So this one's like in pieces. So I was going to paint that up and stuff. I was messing with the two cars over there. You see my thumb is pointing at me with it. Right there, those two cars right there. I got the GT40 Mark IV. Oh yeah, Gulf colors are cool, man. I like them too, Bill. The oh, thank you. Yeah, it took a lot of work. I had my wife help me hold up the pieces I need to hold up, and I just kept at it. I'm the kind of person, once I start on something, I keep hitting it, as much as I can. Same thing with the upstairs with the wood track that I'm planning. I got all my Scratchwell stuff up and running, my bench all together. That took a lot of work because I had so many small parts I had to hang up, and a lot of things that I had. There's way more room up there. Believe it or not, this whole move, and I could say that this is Harry's fault. When I went to Home Racing World headquarters in Dixon, Missouri, for the Labor Day Slam in September, and I fell in love with his wood track. His wood track, the big oval, that thing was a lot of fun. And I had brought quite a few of my scratch build cars, and I ran them, and they ran really well. I was kind of afraid that they were going to run like crap or I wouldn't hold on the road because I've been testing on a plastic track. So believe it or not, when I put them on there, they ran great. So that whole thing right there is what started all of this. My wife had told me, well, you're going to take apart this track because I was going to get rid of this track and do a wood track in the original in the house that we just left. And she goes, no, no, don't do that. And even Harry had told me, do not do that. You do not want to do that. So they swayed me not to take the track and just put a wood track up. And there wasn't really that much enough room. This room's way bigger. And my wife had mentioned, you know what, why don't we just, I talked about expanding the original house that we had. And it's a newer home. It was a 2013 home. And I had a concrete pad out in the back. I was thinking adding a room, extending it, or maybe up top because originally the house was designed with a bonus room. But the bonus room was, that would take more money to, so much money to do. So my wife had told me, you know what, why don't we just look for another house? What the hell? We'll find a house that has more rooms. You can have your wood track and keep Area 51. I said, okay. So we were shopping and looking, for homes, and every home we ran into, yeah, she's a good egg. All right. She's wonderful. She lets me have my hobby. I mean, which is cool. I mean, she's very, very supportive of that. And I appreciate it. That's why I love her so much. But we looked around at several houses with basements because the first house that I looked at had a nice basement. She didn't like how the top was configured. And it had a big bonus room on the top, but the way that the house is laid out, she didn't like it. And she wanted particular things in the house that she was, if we are going to move, she wanted her, needs met too. And that's totally fine. So we looked for a long time, and then finally we just figured, why don't we just find a house that has more rooms? So we got to this house. The first time I saw this house, I really didn't pay attention to it. Uh, just basically just kind of looked in it, and she liked it, and then I left. And then when we were looking more, she kept talking about this house, and I initially had told her, you know what, I do not like that house, and I flat out told her that, and she said, "Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we, just go take a look at it again? I'll look at it objectively. You look at it again and see if it'll meet what you want." Because you really didn't take a good look at it. You just kind of, walked in, kind of, and then walked out. So when we came back a second time, my eyes were open more, and I was like, "Holy crap, man! This place actually will work." So the room upstairs, this room, and then there's three other bedrooms, and there's a bedroom downstairs here for my mother when we move her out here that has a bathroom because she's old and elderly. So we have a room for my mom. So and then we have two slot car rooms that are big enough. One big enough for wood track, one big enough for this one. And then it had a gas range, a big yard for the dogs, and it was a huge garage. The garage is huge and it's got cabinets and it's a lot of space. Makes my cars look dinky in there. So it was really a big win. So that's how we ended up getting into this place. And it all started with Harry's Home Racing World Track. So that's really what started, the whole deal. But I'm happy to be here and get everything set up. It took me about a couple of weeks to get the track up. I did document kind of on my videos what I was doing, not totally, but yeah, I'm glad it went pretty smoothly too. We rented a container and loaded stuff in there, and then I rented a truck, and then slowly progressed everything out here. This thing I took apart and put it in the moving truck in pieces, and then I had to mark everything on it. So we're how would you say, number one, two, blah blah blah, and all that, and just kind of made sure that I put it back together the way I took it apart, and it went back together pretty easily. The only thing that was a pain in the butt was the LED wire, because you can see the wires are hanging down. If you can see right there, my finger's at right there, my hand, all that wiring is all that thin Kiner wire for those LED lights, and that was kind of a mess trying to get that back up. That took me about an hour and a half to figure that out. So I had to kind of like put that up there and redo it, and kind of like use zip ties with square adhesives that you stick, because I can't really drill to the platform, and then just kind of hang everything back up. So but it went well. I added the garages into the mountain, which was my wife's suggestion. I cut out the mountain and put the garages in there, and so that was a great idea. I plan on putting something there too. Table skirting can't fix that. I got table skirting on the other side. Believe it or not. That's true. I could table skirt that, which I should, with some checkered flags you can get from Amazon that are pretty cheap. I could do that. There's a little bit of tight here room from the end of the table to this desk I have. It's kind of, it's like a goes in the corner of the desk. But I'm gonna get a rolling stool where I don't need a back, because this is actually a dining room chair. I won't need a back for this. I'll just need a small rolling chair. But yeah. So pretty much just here today, just chatting away. See if anybody else will join. I know I'm not as popular as Dave Kennedy or anything like that, but try and talk to some guys about cars. And it's probably during work hours right now, because it's what, almost 5. People are still at work or trying to get home. It's 5 o'clock right now, so it's one of those deals. But how's your track there, Bill? What do you what kind of track do you have? And what cars do you run? You run analog, digital, stuff like that? Oh, you're at work. See, people at work. I work only 3 days a week. I work 3/12 shifts. So I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'm home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which it's an awesome schedule. So I'm pretty happy with that. It gives me a lot of time to do, the honeydew stuff, things around the house, and then do this hobby. I still got a ton of boxes to open when I move. Like I said, I worked on a lot of stuff, but Current Digital got the 6. Oh, cool. That's good. That's good. It's a great system. I know Dave was really saying, really adamant about it, that about being irresponsible, but it's his opinion. I respect it. Everybody has their opinion. I'm not gonna dwell on that. That's why when he was chatting about it and stuff, it's just what can you do? Yeah, he's not a fan. He's not a fan at all. I have the Omni box now, and what I'm going to do with my tech slots is I'm not selling it. I'm going to hold on to it. What I'm going to do is loan it out to Marty, because I think he'd get a kick out of using it. So I'll just, hey, there's Harry. What's up, Harry? I'm just on here just chatting away. There's Harry. Harry, I told him this was your fault why we moved, but it was worth it. I told him when I went to your track on September, man, that was when I fell in love more with the wood track. So this is what started all this rolling, which is good. But yep, yes, sir. And I'm doing that Tyrell video, but I got all the stuff. I accept full responsibility. I got all the stuff for the Tyrell car, but I forgot to get the pinion gear, because it's a 1.5 motor shaft instead of 2.0 motor shaft. I was putting the gear on. I'm like, oh, hold on a second. So I forgot to get the gear, but I'm doing that, and I only broke one of the axle, the exhaust pipe. So you're right, like you said, it will break them. But I found a way to kind of do it to try not to break them, but I kept doing it back and forth to show on video and ended up breaking it. But I put some UV glue and it's fine. So pretty easy though. So I'm gonna get that all finished up when I get the parts in. Yeah, it is. I also ordered the NSR oil for the tires. I'm going to try that out too. You're using Ultra Grips, right? Because he's all out of Ultra Grips. Steve is. He told me he struck out, so he's going to wait till he gets some more so I can get some for the cars that I have here. So you were telling me you're using the Ultra Grip tires, and you're just conditioning them with the oil. Yes. Oh, standard. So standard tires will do too. Okay, then maybe I don't need to order Ultra Grip tires. Hey, Dave, what's up? I'm surprised you guys are joining me here. We're just mentioning you, Dave. I know how much you don't like the whatchamacallit, which is fine. I'm cool with it. The just chilling at work. Yeah, it seems like I got everybody at work, but I'm just here just chatting away because nothing much going on. Marvel Mystery Oil. Oh, really? Marvel Mystery Oil? Holy smokes! I used to use that in my '72 Buick as a teenager. I used to put that in the tank. And then when I changed the oil, I'd put in the crankcase. That's some good stuff. Marvel Mystery Oil. I didn't know that. Just the box in general and stuff. And I totally get it. I totally understand. It's everybody has an opinion on that and stuff, and it's just totally get it. No big deal. Like I said, it is what it is. But it's good that you stick to your guns, and I respect that. Oh, the tech slot and all the Omnibox stuff, all these switch box stuff. That's all. No big deal. Just mention it. We're just mentioning how much how adamant you are with with that system and stuff. But big deal. Like I said, you stick to your guns and your opinion. That's good. I respect that, and it's no big deal. It is what it is. But yeah, I liked your Pioneer. Was it the Pioneer thing you had on there? The video on the Pioneer Mustang. That was a cool video. How warm is it here? It's 45 degrees outside. It's been cold. It's been cold lately and foggy at sometimes too. You can see outside the house there in the windows. It's okay now, but it's still cold. It's not too warm. But yeah, yes, sir. We were just talking about how I got all these NSR cars that I haven't done anything with. I got like 3 of them. I have to get off my butt and do stuff. And I got more of those boxes I want to do videos on that I don't even know what the hell they are. I think one of them is the Superbird I ordered for Mark Thomas's Proxy. Oh, okay. So you get. So I've been talking with Jim about that. He's discussed that he's had lots of testing and the box safety digital stuff. I'm going to do a video about it. Maybe what he does will work. We'll see it. Oh, cool. Yeah, cool. That's cool. That's cool. I know it totally understand where you're coming from, Dave, because when you work for Carrera, it's kind of like people don't, the regular people don't understand that it, I see, no problem. I got you, Dave. I'm not bashing you at all or anything. That's the last thing I do with anybody, but I totally get it. Stock tires work well. Rub some oil and clean it once and all. Oh, I'll do that, Harry. Thank you. Definitely do that. Yeah. I love the box because the fact that when I first got it, I was able to, well, with the tech slot, I was able to do. That's how I got in the scratch building. Puts rosin on the sponge, like we do. Okay, gotcha. And I need to set up stations like that when I get the wood track upstairs too, like you do, Harry. Yeah, but with the reason why I got it was so excited about it was when I first got it because that's how I got more into scratch building because when I was able to get that box, I was able to make a scratch build card, flip it to analog and then run the scratch build card to see if I've done it right or if it, holds the road or, crashes or whatever. But that was the reason why I wanted the box. I wanted to also have analog cards because some cars that are hard to chip. And then you have the Slot Technic chip, which I've done a Scale Electric car, an F1 car. I did it and it's super tight in there, but it works. And then I have the flashing red light on the back, and that car is tiny, and that chip is tiny too. And that's the only way to really stick a chip in there on some of those cars. Yeah, tons of car are hard to chip. Yes, I agree. There are a lot, and then not everybody is tech savvy with a soldering iron, and it poses. I think it kind of discourages people when you tell them, "Oh yeah, put a chip in it, do this." It kind of overwhelms somebody, and then they're just like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. That's just like a lot of work. I just want to race a car." That's totally understand. Yeah, too much hassle is hard, but who wants to wreck a car? Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Most people aren't able to solder. I think a lot of it is intimidation. I think it could be too. I can tell you a story. My car is a 2004 GTO. When I first got that car, because I had been to always the old school Chevrolet Warner, because I had a station wagon. I had a 383 stroker that I built and I put in there, and it was basically, timing with the gun and moving the distributor. When I got my GTO and opened the hood, I was like, God, I'm never gonna touch this thing, and that's a whole different a whole other animal. But when I got into a club and I actually started touching the car more, I found that the car was actually a lot easier to deal with. So because you could tune it with the computer and to modify it and to put a bigger cam, which I did. I put heads on it myself, did all that work. That car actually is a really fun car. And to work on it was a lot easier, I think, than the older Chevrolet engines. Now, don't get me wrong when I say that, because some of the older Chevrolet engines are easy to work as well. But these LS cars or LS powered cars are pretty easy to do also. But anyways, getting out of that subject with like being intimidated by how would you say, because they see it, it's like, man, I gotta solder. I don't know how to solder. I totally get it, man. It's not everybody could do it, so people would rather just find something simplistic and just enjoy it. So you want people to enjoy the hobby, not get overcomplicated and then frustrate them. And then they just like, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore, and just leave it. But yeah, totally good. That's good. You talked to Jim there, Dave. It's pretty good. And Harry, I'm going to do that to those tires because I'm looking forward to getting some of that stuff that I ordered. I ordered some more tools for down here because all the tools are upstairs. So I got some screwdrivers I could put here. So if I want to mess with the car, I got my tech block here. So if I want to mess with the car here, I don't have to go upstairs. Everything's here for light, light stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty much happy how everything turned out here. Got to give, yeah, really enjoy it. Hey, Dusty. There's Marty's brother, Dusty. What's up, Dusty? Dusty, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to talking with Marty tonight, checking out his channel. I got those cards I'm going to send you guys, Dusty. I just have to pack them. And I told your brother I'm going to let him. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. I told your brother, Dusty, that I'm going to send in my system to just use and have fun with it so you guys could run some analog cards and kind of learn more with it. So I need to pack it up still, which I'll probably do next week, and get it packed up. I just want to get it in a nice, good box so it doesn't get whacked around or damaged. And then I'll send some of those cards that I told you about, the N917Ks that I have done some work on. They still have magnets, but I had done some tire work and some rim work, some wheel work onto them, so they really do real well. But good to have you on here. We got 6 people, not too bad. Appreciate you guys joining in. Just myself, just hanging out. It's I just finished doing Christmas shopping. All the grandkids. Oh boy, it went pretty quick, but we still got a few more things. My grandsons do like the track. The 2 of them that come over here, they haven't played with in a while, but they'll get the bug. They'll ask me, "Hey, Grandpa, can we play with cars?" Yeah, sure. So, yeah. Still had a bit of shopping. That's the fun part, going out there and shopping. Trying to deal with everybody. It was pretty low key here where we went. So High Point is it could be a busy town, but it's also a pretty quiet town as well. So. Yeah, no problem, Dusty. Shoot, everybody's got to enjoy, something, because you guys got a pretty big layout, so you should be able to enjoy it and stuff. If having the system that I had on this track, that you guys borrow it and just have fun with it, share the fun, because I know they don't make those anymore, and the other box is more expensive. So this will get you guys kind of going and having fun. You're stuck between buying a bunch of lighting for a layout, a static glass applicator, and grass, etc., or a few cars. I don't know what to get for Christmas. Completely stalled. Well, I got my wife's Christmas gift. I got her covered, and so I know I got it here and stuff. Hey, quite a few don't want to install a chip, period. That is true. It is one of many of the Scalextric dumb decisions. Yeah, I'd agree with you there, sir. I certainly would agree with you on that one. That is true. That is so true. So has everybody done their Christmas shopping? I know Dave still has the Christmas shop. How about everybody else? Everybody still got to do Christmas shopping? I think I finished everything what I needed. You get the gifts and then you get stocking stuffers, which is a whole nother thing. We have 9 grandkids, so we have we have a great grandchild. She was born a few weeks ago. So my wife, her son has a son, so that's the one that had him and his wife had a baby. So we have 9 grandchildren. Yeah, 9 grandchildren and 1 great grandchild. So we have one that's that's not far from here. He lives in outside of Lexington. Yeah, grill something. There you go. And we have one that's in the Navy. He's on a submarine. He's a submariner. And then we have one that's younger. He's burgers, and I'll join later. Gotcha, man. Thanks, Harry. And then we have one that is he is the 6-year-old. He's in Nevada. And then we have the 6 that are here. So my daughter has 2 boys. My son has my son has 2 girls and 2 boys. So it's they're all here. So we'll have them over Christmas morning. It'll be nice. So we shop for 9 of them, the 6, and then the 7th one because he's little. The other 2 are bigger, so we bigger, older. So, but then a great grandchild, we got to get her something too. So, yeah, it's grandkids are wonderful. But my grandson built a scratch built card. He built a GTO, and he got in there and he was actually able to solder and do it. I told him what to do, and he did exactly what I told him to do. So, no kids for me. The wife and I just get stuff all year. Yeah, kids they don't get complicated until they get 13, because my daughter's experienced that with my grandson. Now that he's reached 13, as a teenager, it's a whole different ballgame. When they're little, it's a little bit easier. Now as they get older, it's a little bit tougher. So they're turning into adults, so you have to kind of like guide them. But yeah, no kids. Well, so you can buy as many slot cars as you want, man. That's cool. That's good. That's good. That's my wife going outside there. Anything else you guys want to talk about? What's going on with your guys' slot car projects? And I'm kind of going off track here, and I apologize. Anybody got any slot car projects going on? Any cars they want to buy? I know there's quite a few I want to buy, but I can't buy them yet. I'm looking forward to that Shadow from MR Slot Cars. That Shadow is one I've been really wanting to get. Really want to get one of those because I love the Shadow, the paint scheme on that one. Just like the John Player Special, there's a couple of those coming out. I have some bits to paint on it. Gotcha. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I look forward to looking at those, man. That's something I'm really excited about. See how those come out. It'd be pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to do that. Yeah. Any other things going on in the slot car with you guys? Anything at all? I mean, mention it. Happy to say something about it. See, we haven't been on the track for a while. Everyone's just been busy. It'll calm down after the holidays. It's always busy during the holidays. I know your brother Dusty has his daughters there in college, and your nieces, I guess, basically what they are, and they come over, and you guys have get together. I know Marty did a theater thing last week. That's why he didn't have a live stream. He was working with the theater, and he said it was he's been busy with that. So that's pretty cool. Able to work in a theater like that. And like I said, I'm assuming he does sound and lighting or something like that, which is really neat. That's pretty talented if you could do that. I have a hard time with lighting sometimes. I did buy these lights right here from Amazon. None of these big bright suckers here. They do work pretty good. They were only like $169 from Amazon. They were fairly reasonable. So I was able to pick 2 up, and that should be enough to light up what I've been doing lately. That's why the videos that I've been doing, there's been more light. And having problem. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that, Dave. Having problems focusing because I don't have my tripod yet for my iPhone. So it sits low and then it goes out of focus because it focuses the background instead of the subject of the car. So I have to sit there and my wife is getting me more panel lights like that. Cool. Yeah, yours is lighting up pretty good now. You got a lot of good light. Your camera is excellent for what you do. This is the iMac camera on this one. This is the 1080p camera. So I don't know how it looks like to you guys if it's crystal clear or something like that, but it's pretty adequate enough. Yep, he's always doing that kind of stuff, pretty involved with his community things. Yeah, I know. It seems like he is, and I could tell. It seems like he's a really, really good guy, and he does a lot for the community, which is cool. That's cool. Good, thanks. I appreciate that because I don't, you never know how it looks like till somebody else looks at it. Is the wood track you're going to build be an oval? Digi Alvin, yes. Harry's oval I fell in love with, so I'm going to do an oval. But I don't know. I may do something a little bit different, but I'm not sure yet. I have to really I want to talk with Harry Little and Mark Thomas. Mark Thomas is another one that I don't know if you guys know him. but he makes some excellent scratch built cars, and he knows how to do the resin bodies. And on the Home Racing World, yeah, there's a archive of files there. He actually has an instruction on how to do your own resin molding and stuff, and how to resin cast and things like that. And if you guys could do that, that helps you out with scratch building if you want to build, because there's very little 132nd cars out there for model kits. There's more 125th scale, and I use the 125th scale because to me the 125th scale, it's more of the realistic type kind of the scale, whereas 124th is a little bit bigger and bulkier, and you could tell if you get two cars together, the 124th is a little bit bigger. Not banging on Carrera, so you could see I got a lot of Carrera 124s. Their cars look good, but for scratch building, I'll use 125th scale model kits, and there's a lot of that out there. For 132nd, there's very little. That's why a lot of people try and do a resin body, or they do resin bodies, or they do 3D printing, which is the other option. Painting resin's a little bit tougher. You have to sand it pretty good, and you have to use a primer on it. And then I had one car that drove me nuts. I had to strip it down 4 times. I was at my wit's end. I just had a bad day with painting that car. And that was that blue Ford, that scratch built car that I posted quite a while in the old house. And I got it together. I just got to put an interior for it, and it's upstairs. But that car took a while to paint. Painting takes a lot. What I found that painting slot cars, I like using the Createx paints. So at first, I was more of like using heavy solvent paints, spray cans, because some of them come out pretty good. But when I got to doing Createx paints on how to, mix them up, put them in the cup and the gun and everything, I got the proper gun. A gun to use is called Pro Convoy. They make an excellent airbrush gun, and he worked really well. And there's this gentleman on the YouTube named Barbatos Rex. That guy, if you want to look up, he does a lot of paint reviews. He does about airbrushing, really good instructional. He's the guy that got me to get the the uh, the the um, the food dehumidifier. So the food dehumidifier. That's where I got the idea from him, because when you do like the solvent stuff, you can put that in there in about 5 hours. It'll be cured and it'll be hard as rocks and it'll be fine. But you can't do that with the Createx paints. That's the only thing you can't do that with. It won't take that type of thing. You have to do it with the air dry, but it's different. It's a different paint, and it actually works real well. Hello to all to the hobby. I've been watching your videos. Thank you. And dedicating Marty's videos. Just learning, so don't really have anything to add, but thank you, though, for your content. No problem, Wayne. You know what? Anybody could get into it. I always, in my videos, my whole idea is that if I could do it, you could do it. It's kind of like, I don't know if you remember Yan. If Yan can cook, so can you. I always think of it that way. Yan can't cook. So if I could do it, you could do it, because I'm no freaking expert. I make mistakes, but I learn from the mistakes, and I try and do my best to. Sometimes I make the mistakes on camera, and that's the best way to do it. At least you do that, see what's going on. Everyone can, the more better. Yes, sir. Howdy, Dan. Start a week ago. Thank you. Yeah, Wayne, don't let anything intimidate you. There's a lot. This is the thing with YouTube. There's so much stuff out there that you can learn on YouTube. It's crazy. I mean, if you type up anything, there's so many things. If you type up anything for the slot car hobby, you'll see a ton of stuff come up. I mean, besides me, there's a ton of other people that do some way better work than what I do. I mean, look at the car that Harry just posted, the Hudson, I think it was. Man, that's a gorgeous car. Whoever who built it, I forget, it was Brian, I think his name. But man, that's some good work there. So I mean, once you start doing the first one, you start honing your skills. Yeah. Yes, Harry is the slot father. That's what we call him, the slot father. Yes, sir, he is. He knows his stuff. He's been around a long time, and he would tell me before we used to have video. He would do a lot of things. And if you look at some of his really old videos on Home Racing World, so there's one called Barfing a Tire. Check that one out. See what they used to do before we had companies like Slot Car Corner, and all those companies that make scratch belt parts, like Paul Gage tires and all that. Look that video up, barfing a tire. See what he used to do back then, before all these companies out. Right now, like Dave says, this is the golden age of slot car, of the hobby, because there's so much stuff now than there was back then. It's totally different. There is so much involvement in the hobby. It's pretty crazy, and so much things that you could do now. The technology and videography and all that stuff. And before, if you look at Harry's older articles, he used to type all that by hand, and then you show pictures. And that's what's crazy, how he used to do that. That's how he would do his articles. It's like reading a magazine. And he would do all his legwork, and I mean that took way more time. And he told me, thank God for video, because writing all that takes time. Whereas a video, you could kind of just explain yourself, and that's the best part about that. You guys killing me with the scratch building stuff. I've got too many hobbies already, but they are all so cool. I bet you do. It's a great time for slot car racing. Thumbs up from Digi Alvin. Yeah, since the mid 2000s, we've gotten so much now. So many choices, perfectly round tires, so many amazing parts. Man, that is so true, Dave. It's crazy how much stuff we have. I mean, I got a ton of stuff upstairs, not as much as Harry does, but for what I do. But there is just so much, so many things you could do. I mean, so many, choices, which is nice. I mean, if you want to, change something on the car, you can. It's there, readily available. You just, shop the website, click and point, and order it. That's what I've been doing with Slot Car Corner. Been doing a lot of that lately, here and there. But yeah, it's really cool. The hobby is really nice. The people, the community in this type of hobby are really cool. I was in the car culture a lot, but there are no bad choices, really. There are better choices, but no wrong choices. That is very true. Yes, sir, it is. Problem's not with selection; it's with the budget. Yeah, you could say that. I'm guilty of ordering here and there, but you know what? I've been actually using stuff like Klarna. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, or the PayPal Pay in 4, because it is, buying a slot car could be expensive, and when you buy more than two, it adds up. So sometimes I'll use that. Yep, Bill did nail it. I'll use the Klarna app, or the PayPal Pay in 4. So this way, it's kind of softens the blow. They take it out of your checking account every 2 weeks. Payment of 35. Say you buy like one car, so kind of like, and there's no finance charge for it. They just take it out as a regular thing. Of what you paid for it. It's all right. I just always want more and more cars. Discipline. Yeah, it sure does, man. Because you start going into a buying frenzy, like I did before I left the other house. I kind of went into buying frenzy because it was like, holy crap, I got like 5 or 6 cars. Like, this is a little bit crazy. And that's why I have those boxes. I've been doing videos and opening them, because I have more than I'm going to do. I'll probably do one maybe next week. I'll do another one, because I've already done 2 videos or one video, I think, on unboxing one. So it's kind of like, I don't know what's in the box really, because I can't remember what I ordered. I probably could go back and see the history, but I try and keep it more interesting to be surprised. Like, oh, this is what I got. Make it more interesting and stuff to everybody. But yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, you can see I got these I've got a while ago. This has been sitting on the shelf. I mean, it adds up. Sure, it adds up. And then there's this. And then there's the one I just recently got, which I already pre-ordered, these historic line ones. And then Black Friday, right? I got my GT40, which is over there, the white one. That was a good deal, $49. And I should have got more than one. I know Harry got a C7 Corvette, and I picked up the Ford GT Mark IV, which I never had one. Then I've been wanting one, and I grabbed that right away. So, yeah, it's super. It's hard to have discipline on some areas like that. I try and budget myself as much as I can, not to overdo it, because there's stuff like the house payment, which is important. So you don't kick it, lose the house. But yeah, it could get crazy. The same thing with scratch building. You start a scratch build project, you have to see what tire you're going to run with, what size wheel. I usually make sure I get the body first, because when you get the body, you can kind of get size your axles and wheels, and then you can kind of sit it on to see how it looks, and you start building the chassis. And a motor bracket is a problem in Holland. I can't find it. Really? Wow. Really, motor brackets are tough, huh? Ooh. Yeah, without motor brackets, I mean, you could probably fashion your own. You just have to, do it out of brass. Just you have to get kind of inventive. The people that are really inventive are the people like in countries like Argentina or Spain that are into slot car building. There is a Facebook page called Slot Car Cordoba, and the guy's name is. Oh, you did. See, there's a will, there's a way. So the Facebook page is called Slot Car Cordoba, and the gentleman who runs it, he has my name. His name is Jorge. That's how you say my name. But I tell people call me George because the way people say Jorge, they kind of really mash it up. So but his name is Jorge, and he those guys, I mean, they do stuff, I mean, how they can, because over there, I'm sure there's not a prevalent amount of parts like we have here in the United States. So they do a lot of things to, accommodate and, build stuff and just make it happen. Just like you had to do DigiHalvin, you had to make it happen. You had to make yourself a motor bracket, I give credit to you for doing that. That's pretty cool how you're able to do that. But going back to scratch building, here, hold on a second. Give me a second here, guys. Let me go get a scratch build card, because I do have one here. I have a couple of them. So I got a few here. So this one right here is one that I built before this one here. I think it's before this one here. Now this one's different. You can see where I positioned the guide. And this kind of, on Home Racing World page, kind of caused a little, not a controversy, but it was kind of like saying, well, that's pretty set far back, that guide. We'll have to see how it handles. So I got lucky with this car. It actually handles pretty well. Now, if you go too fast, obviously it'll fall off because it's a top-heavy car. But if I weight it down a little, I'm sure it'll be fine. But where it's positioned, it actually works. And actually, how I got this car set, I got lucky on how it sets, because I had to kind of use some, popsicle sticks and some plastic to kind of position it, and I got it to a position where I had. That's the hardest part about these cars, is positioning them and putting the body mounts. And but here's one of them right here I recently did, and I got to put interior on it still. And these are just decals from Gopher Racing right here. Thank you, appreciate that, Dave. So this took, some time to do. And of course, you see the Parma pink here and stuff, and where I mounted it at here, and then back here. Came up pretty decent. And I had this one where I did Nerf bars. And again, this takes time to do all this. You just have to put your mind to it and just do it. I mean, this car is pretty cool. This one ran real good on Harry's track. It ran real well. And then I have this Camaro, which I did a while ago. And this is kind of more like a wired chassis, like a jailhouse chassis kind of weight, frame on it. This is the first one I've done that way. And I experiment when I do these cars. When I get a car, I don't really have a plan when I do it. I usually kind of like I go on the block and just I get my body first, and then I imagine where the wheels will be at when I put the body out with nothing, and make sure that the tire selection and the wheel selection is appropriate. Like these are insert wheels, so these came originally from the model. And this is what's nice about CB wheels, is that you get the deep inserted ones. You could use the all right, Dave, thanks, man. High school wrestling meet tonight. Have to shoot. Fun chat. Thank you, Dave. Take care, man. So like I said, with these ones, I had to get the deep wheels, and you could use the original inserts and stick them in there. And this is what you get. And then you could detail the wheel or whatnot. But this car right here, this car runs real well, and it hangs on the track real nicely. But again, it's just experimenting. When you do stuff, you just get things, and you just kind of get the block and you just start from there. And the thing with doing that is that you could always correct what you make a mistake on. So before you even paint it, if you see something wrong, which I've had happen where, hey, the guide isn't in the proper position, so I have to resolder it and move it. That's the lovely thing about brass is like you resolder it or reheat it and then move things around. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh my God, that's the way it is. That's it's not like that. You could reheat it, reposition it, set it up again, so forth. That's what you have to deal with when you're working with scratch built cars. I mean, all this is out of just imagining how stuff happens. Now, Mark Thomas makes some awesome cars. When I went to the shootout, he really knows how to build a slot car chassis, and some of the cars that he's done are really beautiful. And he's really good, and he's got some really nice tracks. He's got he does HO too. His place, I think, he has 4 or 5 tracks, and he built all those tracks. They're all beautiful wood tracks, and very, very, very nice place that he has. A very big, large collection, real nice setup, way bigger than what I have. He specifically built that room for his hobby, but he's got a proxy coming out, which is the NASCAR one. So basically, what you're using is you could use a Carrera body as long as one of those, winged warrior ones that actually race, like Marty Robbins, so forth. And then you're just building a chassis for it, and that's the proxy that he has running. But he's a real good builder, real good painter. He knows that a decal, man. The guy is just from top to bottom of the car. He knows what to do. It's really good work. Just like Harry. Harry's another one, real good slot car scratch builder. And there's a lot of other guys too that are out there that do send their cars into Harry that know how to build them. It's just getting involved and doing it and making sure that you get it done. Just take a shot. I mean, what else is there to lose? I mean, if you don't try, you'll never know. That's how I look at it. I've been doing it for about maybe almost 3 years now. When I first got into it, I followed Harry's stinker chassis build, and I got a Carrera GTO body, and I left the car over there for him. I told him, I'm going to keep this here, so I want you to keep it. And so when I come back, I could play with it. So I left the car there, but that was my first car, and I followed his video, and it wasn't very hard to do. I found that it was fairly easy. I kind of listened to everything he had to say. His videos are really, really, really too precise. That's what I'm saying, Wayne. You were talking about, not getting into it. If you look at Harry's videos on Home Racing World, you check out the stinker chassis build. Just type up stinker chassis build. There's a 5-part, I think, video, and he tells you how to build it, and it's really not hard at all to do. Very simple for 1/32 scale. So that's how I started on this, and then from there on, man, I was like, got hooked. I just kept going and going. Right now, I have quite a few cars. I plan on building more. I've done a couple TV movie cars. I did Christine. I did the Smokey and the Bandit one. God, what else I do? I did like another one too, but yeah, check it out, Wayne. Trust me, it's not that hard, man. You just do it, man. Just like I say, just do it. Come on, do it. It's not tough. And the minimal amount of tools you need are not really a lot. You can get yourself a regular Weller soldering iron from Amazon. I just think it's a 40-watt. That's all you need. You don't need any, and you get the flat tipped one, the wide flat tipped one. Don't get the pointy one because you want the wide flat tip soldering iron so you can disperse all the heat over what you're soldering. But yeah, check it out. You don't need much. If you need help, email me and I could give you kind of a list what to get. Even these little silicone mats, and those little blocks, you get that from Slot Car Corner, little jeweler's box, or even from Amazon if you want to get in the pins too. You don't need much to get started. As long as you have a soldering iron, a jeweler's board, some pins, some flux, and solder, you can build the chassis right then and there. It's not too hard. And then I've done videos on building chassis too for a 1/24 scale. So there's a lot of stuff out there that you could look at and build on. And then there's also guys that do lots of awesome 3D chassis printing too, and actually make their own chassis and build their own cars, from plastic. That's pretty cool. That's what's so amazing about. There's so much technology out there now that 3D printing will only advance even further. I think in another 2 or 3 years, it'll be so advanced that you'll be able to whip a chassis pretty quick, with as soon as the machines get better, there's always, they're improving and improving them every day and every year. There's always something new and better. But yep, yep. Uh, this looks like we'll be having a Truer pretty soon. I think they have the CG slot car Truer. I don't know if they've released that yet or are they just still doing stuff too, but I'm not sure. But that's kind of nice that they finally got something like that out there, because I have a Truer, and the Truer that I got was from Cincy Slots. So there was a guy that named John Dahl, I think his name, who made one where it had a these are basically little motors that you find on eBay, and they're on RC stuff, and it moves a little RC arm. And mine's does the sweeping action. You can see in my videos, and it sweeps the plate. And I do one side at a time because you can't really do two, because it won't really work well to true tires. So I do one at a time. And urethane is a lot easier to true. It doesn't take long. Rubber is even easier. Silicone's a whole different story. I've done silicone. It takes a long time. You need to use what's called drywall paper, drywall sanding paper. So they got big like squares, because if you use regular sandpaper, it clogs up and then it makes a mess. But silicone tires are really tough to true. I'd recommend not doing it until somebody gets something set up to where it makes it easier. I know there's one guy that I spoke with that he knows how to do it, and he's explained what, kind of how you do it. And I guess basically if you have fan or air going through it, like a little fan that cools it, it won't let it gum up as easy. But when I did mine on my Carrera Porsches, that's why they do real well with magnets. They had their magnet cards, but man, they really hang on really good with those silicone tires trued, and the wheels are trued. They really do really well. But the silicone tire is a lot tougher to true. But yeah, it is nice that we have finally somebody making a machine, because man, that was one thing that was lacking so badly, was a tire truer, because nobody had a tire truer. And that's pretty tough when you tell people, sand your tires. I know you could get and I did a video on it, you could get a piece of track and tape, sandpaper on it, and kind of, it works, but it's not really the same as if you actually have a truer that you're making sure that the tire is trued. That method does work. I'm not bashing it, but it's nice to have a truer, to have that. Ron Carrera 130 digital, and I have an HO Aurora and cars from the 60s and 70s. Like this, only want to know where I should post them. At Home Racing World, there's a for sale section. I would go and do that there, Dave. If you go to and it's just the for sale section. Don't post them anywhere else on the Home Racing World site. Because on the Home Racing World forum page, everybody is into lots of various different things, HO and all that. But I would go there. If you go to eBay, you're going to pay, I'm sure, the charge that they do. You could do it on eBay, but Home Racing World has a for sale section. So if you'd want to do that, I would do that first and see where you go from there. So those are actual slot car enthusiasts that are looking for stuff like that. eBay, maybe, depends. But that's cool. 60s and 70s. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's how I started as a kid, was in the 70s. AFX. I had the TCR, Total Control Racing, where you'd have to go around the jam car. The AFX chrome ones. Those were fun. That's childhood memory. I remember the smell they produce when you were running the electric motor smell for Christmas. That was fun. I had Sizzlers too. Sizzlers was another one where you just stick the little juice to the little gas station, and you plug it in with the juice, and it charged the battery, and you let them go, and they would fly around the track. Those were fun. As a kid, I've always liked that. That was something that was really enjoyable. But yeah, HO cars are cool. They're really cool. I have a very couple of them in there. And this Omni box is capable of running HO if I wanted to. So, I could buy HO cars and run it on this. I just have to change the shoes, to make them so they cover the rail. But that's why I like the Omni slot box. Its capability is really broad range. So if you look at Jim Cunningham's video on OmniSlotbox.com, he could run Group 12 motors on this track. The only thing with this track right now is that when I installed the box and I explained it, I don't have 14 gauge wires as the jumpers. They're like 16 gauge. and I would need to change that, and that's no big deal. All I do is just get some bus bars and change the wiring, which I will if I want to entertain that, putting a wing car on here. Not that maybe I would. Maybe, I don't know. Let me do it for the hell of it. But it's pretty cool that you could do that. That's what is interesting in this box is that it has a broad range, and you could get into anything with your Carrera track. If you stick one of those on there and just power whatever you want to in there and put the juice up and not have to worry about it. But the thing with the Carrera track, the reason why I picked it is because it has such a wide footprint. Because you could run like wider cars, obviously, and stuff. But yeah, I would go Home Racing World. Any of you guys that are not part of Home Racing World, it's free to join. Please join it. It's a great forum board. It could be entertaining too, some of the posts people put. And then there's a lot of good information on there too. I have my own section on there that Harry put for me, and I appreciate him doing that. It's the Area 51 Raceway under Home Connection. I'll put my videos on there too, and what I do on YouTube. I do have a Facebook page. I don't really. The one thing about the Facebook page, I don't really put too much on there lately, which I should be, but I kind of feel like it becomes redundant when I keep putting videos of the same thing on 3 different pages. But I think the YouTube page and the Home Racing World page is where I would put everything. Uh, is where I would stick my videos. I don't want to be too overbearing with putting 4 videos on 4 different sites. I think it's kind of a little bit too much, but kind of low key that way. Yeah. Any more questions anybody has? I guess I'll have 7 people here. If you have any more questions, Marty's live stream will be starting in 2 hours. You guys join Two Line Slot Cars, man, tonight at 8 o'clock. Marty's got a lot of good stuff that he talks about. He's very good at what he does. I have 132nd cars and sets from the 60s. I'm going to keep monogram kits, Lola T70 and Ferrari. Cool. Those are nice cars, man. Nice looking cars. And you could rework some of those cars with some modern parts if you wanted to, or restore them, and they'll run fine. Let's stick them on track. I have, I don't know if I have super old cars. I think I may have 1 or 2 that were old I haven't put on there that I bought. I need some work, but yeah, the cars back in those times, I mean, so much different than what they are now. Is your Volvo going to have a bank curb? So I want it to be kind of like how Harry's is. So Harry's doesn't have a high banked turn. So his is slightly elevated. I don't want to have a high bank turn because I'm not running commercial track. To me, high bank turns are for commercial tracks. Don't get me wrong when I say that to you guys. You guys do what you want. But I would rather have a slight bank, just very slight, because the way his track's designed, he has it up just a tiny bit. So it has that nice gradual. All right, Dusty, I'll see you later on tonight. Yep, heading out. Get ready for Two Lines. Yep. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'll see you there. See ya. But yeah, I want that slight bank so when the cars come, they have that little slide. So that's how kind of like dirt tracks work. Because I'm trying to do the same thing as like a dirt track. But his has got that slight bank, and I like that because it's not too wild and it's not too flat. It's just got that nice, perfect. And he's told me how to do it. It's basically getting a 2x4 and just raising it slightly to give it that certain height. So when it swings around, it's got that nice, smoothness to it. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. If you look on his page, you'll see his track. And I've done some videos on his track too. It's his track is in the basement, and it's Home Racing World's a great fun place to visit. Harry's got cars all over the place. A lot of times he's like, "Oh, here's that one." That means you got a lot of cars. And he pretty much has been involved with the hobby so much, so he knows a lot about a lot of the brands, what they used to do, fly cars to make them work right. One of those things. What time is Marty's show on? It's on at 8 o'clock. That's what I think it is. Yes, it is a cool track. Digi album. Audibox, way to go. It just cost that stuff. Yeah, it's made in the US. Maybe if it's made in China, it'd be cheaper. But I mean, Jim Cunningham has put a lot of heart and engineering to it. But I look at it as you get what you pay for. You know, it's worth it. So far, no problem with it. Flip it to analog, I go. Flip it to digital if the kids come over. It works fine. I've been messing with it here and there. Uh, and Jim's got a very detailed instructions on what to do. One thing you need to do safely is, you know, as David mentioned, you need to isolate your lane changers. I only have one lane changer, as you can see behind me there. That's the only one I need. That one's been isolated when I had the TechSlot box. The cost is expensive. Yeah, it is. But you know what? You get what you pay for, and it's worth it. Because you look at it as that. So look at it this way, Dave. Say you got to chip 20 cars. How much is each chip times 20? It pays off. That's how I look at it. It pays off in the end because there's some cars you don't want to chip, or some cars that are hard to chip, or some cars you cannot chip. So you're not limiting yourself to just, you know, having to stick a chip. And then with chip shortages lately, the way it's been, you know, look at Scalextric, they're finally getting chips in. It's it's tough. So just to put it in that perspective, that's what I did with the TechSlot box. When I looked at it, I was like, you know, this is great because I can not chip a car and save myself, at the time it was like $39. Cool. I think that's worth it. And his box at the time was 300 and something when I first bought it. I thought that was a good investment because if I bought, let's say, if I bought like 5 chips, what's that? $40 a piece at the time. It's, you know, over 100 and something dollars. It's a lot of money. So that's already paid for a quarter of it, not half. So you look at it that way. I look at it in terms of the long-term uh, cost. So in a way, it's worth it. You pay one price, and you never have to worry about chipping a car again that you don't want to chip. And you could still chip it, but it gives you that ability to run an analog car without having to chip it on a Carrera setup, and with a lane changer. And you just flip it back and play your digital cars. I like that. That's the one thing I liked when I first got my first digital set was a Scalextric, and I sold it because I liked that the part, that 7-car one where you could switch it to analog. That's the part that I enjoyed. But I didn't like the footprint. So it's nothing against Scalextric. It's just a smaller footprint. I wanted to run the bigger cars like the Carrera big ones behind me there, and I like those. So it gave me more of a, you know, option having a wider footprint. Of course, it takes up more room, as you can see. You know, it's a bigger track, wider. You need more room for it. That's the only, you know, downfall about that set. It's got a big footprint. If you have like a Scalextric, this be a lot smaller, and then you can run, you know, you'd only be able to run size cars. But anyways, that's how I look at it, Dave. I look at it from the long term cost. It's cheaper, you know, but yeah, it's I'm not blaming you. It's not cheap, but it does pay off. In the end, it will pay off. It's the amount of things that you can do with it. And again, just pride variety. Gotta get back to work. All right, Bill. Go back to work, Bill. Don't let the boss see you. Take it easy, man. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Appreciate chatting to people in there. It's pretty cool. I don't do too much of these. I may do them more often. I don't know. Oh, so we're running about an hour and 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off because I'm going to join Marty in a couple hours here, and I need to get dinner. And I know you guys probably have to get home and do your stuff. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dave, for showing up. Harry, and Bill, Dave, Wayne, Dusty. We got DG Alvin. Let me go through my list here. Who else we got here? I think I did get everybody. And Dan's here. Dan was here. Thank you guys for showing up, man. I appreciate it. See you at Marty's live broadcast there. No problem, Digi Alvin. You have fun there. Yeah, I'll give you credit for doing your own motor bracket, man. Smart man. That takes a lot of talent. You hang in there. I'm sure we'll get parts out there easy. No problem, Wayne. No problem, guys. As always, take care and have fun racing. Bye.